A plane flies high in the sky as a violent drug dealer empties his bags after receiving a batch of his goods. A man dons a parachute and prepares to jump into the water after it. However, destiny has other plans for him. The drug dealer passes out after hitting his head and falls without ever opening his parachute. His worthless life ends at this point, and the narrative shifts to two hikers in the woods. Welcome to Rapid Movie Recaps. Please subscribe, like, and turn notifications on. Please help support our channel by checking our merchandise down below. The hikers wander along the river trail oblivious to the large bare paw prints beneath their feet. Neither do they notice the red bag hanging from the tree, which is one of many dropped by a drug dealer. The hikers are admiring the view from the cliff when they suddenly spot a bear nearby. The bear rubs its back against the tree while twisting its body like a seasoned stripper. To capture the bear in his natural habitat, they pull out their cameras. However, the bear in the image behaves strangely. It strikes its head on a tree. Upon noticing the hikers, the bear approaches them. The hikers flee and rush. The man stumble and subsequent fall save his life. The bear rushes to his girlfriend, and that's the end of her. On the news, at least one man has mysteriously fallen from the sky and turned out to be a drug dealer. Officers are attempting to determine who is responsible for the drug shipments on the scene. A guy named Sid turns out to be a suspect. Detective Bob realizes that a couple of packages are not the entire batch, which means that there are currently bags of cocaine lying around. After determining what's going on and entrusting his partner with the dog, Bob drives to a neighboring state. At the mall, Sid meets David. Sid assigns him to walk the route of the dead dealer and collect the abandoned cocaine. Sid assigns Eddie as his partner. Eddie is his son who struggled with depression after the death of his wife. The focus then shifts to Nurse Suri. She is preparing for her night shift. Her teenage daughter, Dee Dee, was instructed to heat her meal. Instead of studying in the morning, the girl goes to the woods with her friend Henry. Her mother, who has just returned from work, is informed of this via telephone. In the backyard, she discovers her daughter's backpack with a marked map of a waterfall. The female is en route there. Along the way, the children discover a cocaine briquette. The intelligent adolescents recognize that they are dealing with drugs after being shown images of drug packaging at school. Dee Dee realizes that she will not be able to earn such an amount of angel dust in the near future, opens the package, and attempts to consume the angel dust. Henry repeats her feat, but he does not particularly enjoy it. While determining a package's value and potential buyers, the children discover additional packages in the bushes. Several of them are already torn. They are unaware that a stoned bear with a powdered nose is wandering around. After ingesting a dose of drugs, it developed a craving for snacks. The children scream in terror and flee upon spotting the wild animal. David and Eddie are driving down the highway while conversing about Eddie's family tragedy and their strained relationship with his drug-addicted father. Suri visits the station to speak with the forest rangers. The rangers, Liz and Peter, are detouring toward the falls and taking the woman with them in order to locate her daughter. Sid's crew pulls into the parking lot just as they are leaving the station. David enters the restroom where local adolescents attempt to rob him. The hardened drug dealer leaves the young hoodlums lying on the toilet, where they belong after administering some disciplinary blows. David is released with a minor back stab wound. Eddie discovers a bag of cocaine near the unconscious children. The thugs ask where the rest of the angel dust is after dumping water on one of them. The kid isn't very helpful. David is compelled to use a gun to coerce him into cooperating and revealing where the remainder was concealed. The Rangers and Suri discover the children's footprints. The lead character calls out for her daughter, but Henry answers. He has escaped from the beast by climbing a tree. The boy informs her that a bear has taken Dee Dee. Peter is dragged into the thicket after hearing a suspicious struggle in the bushes. Liz fires at the bushes that are moving. However, the freed partner is crawling. He comes across the scattered coke. The cunning bear approaches Liz from behind and grabs her by the butt. The injured ranger hobbles away, while Peter, who has sniffed out a few roads, climbs a nearby tree. Suri remains alone on the ground, hiding behind a second tree. She must rescue her daughter. The bear climbs up to Henry, forcing him to move up even higher as he recalls his honey-seeking exploits. The bear almost reached Henry when he detected the enticing aroma of Peter's fresh drugs. After rapidly plunging, the predator raised a nearby tree and mauled the ranger who had taken refuge there. Henry takes advantage of this by coming down and fleeing with Suri. The boy explains that he and Dee Dee discovered the cocaine the bear was high on, and he recalls that Dee Dee fled in the opposite direction. They embark on a search for her. They discover blood on a boulder. Suri fears the blood is her daughter's. However, she's actually marking the road with paint. The characters continue through the variously colored stains. Liz returns to the station to find the injured adolescents licking their wounds. The ranger is loading a revolver when he hears a growl. The woman instructs the idiotic and cunning adolescent to open the door. A beast lurks outside. Liz shoots while covering her eyes, but the bullet strikes the young man in the head. His brains scatter in various directions, splattering everywhere and landing on the bear. The predator decides to change its strategy in response to the brawl and flees. After locking the door, the ranger and the other teen hear the bear climbing up the roof. Liz believes that the beast is hiding in the chimney, but he is more sneaky. Through the window, he grabs the teenager who is standing against the wall. Detective Bob arrives at the station and inspects the area, noticing the bloodshed occurring within. An ambulance then arrives at the station. The paramedics struggle to open the door that has been blocked by a headless corpse. They discover a wounded Liz and the mutilated body of a second teen. The bear is lounging in the shadows while viciously licking itself. The animal then kicks the fragile door, which causes the driver to fall to the ground. The animal pushes the man down by stepping on the door. Numerous humans were consumed by the bear, resulting in a substantial increase in weight. The driver attempts to frighten him away by striking him with a bag. The strategy is effective because the animal responds to the color and assumes there is a stimulating powder inside. The nurse drags Liz into the ambulance and gets behind the wheel. The driver was able to get in as well. However, the bear is adamantly opposed to giving up a potential lunch. After catching up to the vehicle, he throws Liz's gurney out and dismembers the driver. The nurse collides with a tree. She went flying out of the windshield, making her unconscious on the ground. The bear left when people stopped moving and being entertaining. The teenager tries to cheer up Eddie on the way to the stash, but David would rather get to work right away. They are unaware that Detective Bob is already inside the gazebo when he discovers the concealed bag. When the dealers arrive, the stash has vanished. The teenager does not know how to convey this information to the thugs. Davey threatens him with a firearm before a detective appears on the roof. He orders him to drop the weapon and then searches for a safe way to descend. Davey takes advantage of the opportunity and acquires a firearm. However, the detective removes a few of his fingers with a well-aimed shot. On his second attempt, the dealer secures the firearm and conceals himself in the officer's blind spot. The bear wanders around selecting victims for the carnage. After sniffing Eddie, he lays on top of him with all of his considerable weight, crushing him. It appears that the beast has lost consciousness. As Davey leans over the predator, a brick of cocaine falls out of his pocket and the bear's drug-deprived sense of smell detects it. The beast stands up, stuffs the entire package into its mouth, and then rolls around on the ground with pleasure. When the animal's focus shifts to Eddie, he rises to his rear legs and begins to dance with him. To prevent the beast from attacking the dealer, Bob distracts him with a second package. He rips it open and disperses the powder on the ground. By discarding the second briquette, the detective gives the criminals an opportunity to flee. Davey, however, has a gun pointed at him. He desires to acquire the goods. Suddenly, a gunshot rings out and Bob collapses. However, it was his boss, Sid, who made the shot, not David. He is positioned in the distance with a rifle, awaiting the arrival of his proteges. The boss asks where the coke is. The drug lords will come after him if the goods are not returned. They return to the pavilion to retrieve the bag. However, the injured Bob pushes it away and the bear drags it away. Then, Bob's partner appears. She holds the men and Sid at gunpoint. However, it turns out that the girl has been working for a criminal mastermind for quite some time, succumbing to a subculture of corruption. The criminals depart in search of the bear, leaving the detective on the roof to suffer and die. They sneakily ascend the trail, paying no attention to the bag dangling from a tree. Henry and Sari cross the river. They encounter Olaf, a hiker with a red beard whose friend was attacked by a bear at the beginning of the film. While Henry shamelessly searches his bag for food, Sari asks the man if he has seen a young girl nearby. Despite his preference for adult women, he says he will show them the location. Olaf directs the group to the cave. He provides Sari with a flashlight but refuses to enter. Inside, the characters discover several drum-filled bags with 2 cubs scavenging through them. The mother bear has given her young drugs. Also present is a wounded DD with a leg injury. The roar of the returning bear interrupts the joy of the reunion. They enter the cave's depths to find an alternate exit and sneak past the waterfall. Sari believes that if the predator attacks, she can leap to safety. In the meantime, the criminals make their way to the cave, where they encounter Olaf's bloody remains. The unfortunate individual is out of luck for a second time. Inside, they discover a bag of discarded drugs. The officer offers to leave, but Sid says that 1 bag is insufficient. They must locate the remainder. The thugs approach the frozen children and Sari, who are standing at the waterfall. On one side are the bear cubs, and on the other are the armed drug dealers. The cubs come up to Sid after smelling the coke in the bag. The man instructs his son to shoot the cubs, but his son refuses. Then he tosses Davy the rifle. Sari intercepts and took the rifle. She is holding the criminal at gunpoint. A furious mother bear appears at the cliff's edge. She dislikes it when children play with the food. survey suggests jumping into the lake before the situation worsens significantly. Sid diverts the bear's focus by tossing a briquette to the side. Eddie and Davey also jump when the bear moves downward to the ledge. While the boss fires a gun at the beast, injured Mother Bear falls to the ground down onto the rocks, abandoning the cubs to scream at the summit. She comes to her senses, though, when Sid drops a bag of drugs on the ground. As the boss attempts to retrieve the bag, the predator rises up. With a deep growl, he drags the drug dealer to the ground and invites the bears to the meal. After removing Sid's intestines, the animals toss his body off a cliff, leaving 2 bags of coke. The survivors split up in the morning in the parking lot outside the ranger station. They pass the damaged ambulance and Liz, who has fallen off the gurney, as police cars rush toward them to deal with whatever has occurred. In the next scene, another group of tourists captures a mother bear and her cubs on camera. The bear smiles and looks into the camera when he spots the new victims. This movie can be purchased at the link in the description below. Thank you for watching.